Good evening. I'm Venus Reyes, Program Executive for Online MBA program. Let me introduce Professor Joshy, Chair of the Online MBA program, and Professor Turaga and Professor Srikumar, Executive Member of Online MBA program. The program technology support is provided by VCNow. The representative are the part of the webinar. I extend my warm welcome to all the webinar attendees. Thank you for sharing queries with us. The webinar will begin with the presentation on the approach to online MBA by Professor Turaga. It shall be followed by the responses to common queries by Professor Joshi. It shall be followed by responses to your queries. Feel free to register your queries using Q&A windows. The last sessions will be devoted to more organic discussions of your key queries. Now over to Professor Turaga.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your interest in the online MBA program offered by IIM Ahmedabad. And also thank you for joining in today's webinar. As Venus has outlined, the plan is for me to start with giving you a broad overview of the program, which also incorporated some of the frequently asked questions about the program during our interactions with the potential participants of the program. Let me start with many of you who are joined today might already be aware of IIM Ahmedabad and its status among the business schools, management schools in India. To just reinforce, we are consistently ranked as a #1 institute among the management institutes in the Ministry of Education's NIRF rankings. We are the top ranked Indian school in the QS university rankings, and globally we are ranked number 22 as per the latest rankings. And in the Financial Times rankings, one of the more prestigious business school rankings, IIM Ahmedabad ranks among the top 3 frequently, and the most recent ranking is number 2. So globally we are number 41, right? And we are number 1 for career progress for 3rd time in a row in the Financial Times rankings, right? And our long record as a management school also means that we have produced some really distinguished leaders in a variety of fields that serves the Indian and global audiences. You might already be aware of many of those you are seeing on the slide. Dr. Raghuram Rajan was an ex-governor of RBI, is both an academician and was part of the government. We have Harsha Bhogle and Ajay Banga, who was previously the global CEO of Citibank, and now he's with World Bank, right? So we have people who have become leading figures in a variety of fields, including social service, entrepreneurship, and industry, right? So this is the sort of what we bring to the table in terms of what we offer in the online MBA programs, a very large networks of very distinguished alumni. And one of the key questions is like why we have started online MBA program and what it offers to the potential participants. You might already know that we have a couple of other MBA programs, the long duration programs. PGP is our flagship program, which is typically offered for fresh graduates, two-year MBA program, fully residential. And a few years ago, we started this 1-year PGPX program, which is for more experienced people. It's a 1-year program, fully residential. And one of the only upsides of the COVID is the emergence of this technology that allows us to offer these educational programs, degree programs that come as close to these regular programs that we have been offering. So that is one of the motivations for us, is to offer this program, which will be very similar in terms of its rigor and the learning approach that we take to the other long duration programs that we offer. The only difference being that it allows people who are working to also come into this MBA programs and to give a fillip to their career. So the key difference would be that we will be offering this in a blended mode, right? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the structure of the program as we go along, So that's where we come. So what we offer through this online MBA program, right? Uh, as again, some of you who may be aware of IMA's approach to learning is what we use something called case pedagogy, right? Which is sort of the most dominant form of pedagogy that we use in all our programs, right? Which basically the case, for those of you who are not aware of what case pedagogy means, we use these documented cases of real life decision happening in organizations, right? And through interactive method between the instructor and the participants, right, we generate more structured thinking about uh, the the decisions that are being made in organizations, right? So rather than providing sort of theoretical ideas, we develop more structured theoretical ways of understanding the real life through these documented case studies, right? That is the um, sort of first unique nature of what we offer in our MBA programs, and that is going to be part of how we have conceptualized our online MBA program as well, right? And the second part of it is um, we also have in the other programs, we have faculty, large number of faculty coming from really top schools across the world to teach and do research here. And we offer sort of very contemporary, cutting edge electives in the second year of the program, right? The electives could be in functional areas like HR, marketing, and strategy. They could be related to the very cutting edge decision framing frameworks and tools. For example, you might know that artificial intelligence and big data analytics are sort of the very contemporary topics, and we have courses that are offered to address these kinds of tools. Then entrepreneurship is something that we have a center exclusively focused on entrepreneurship incubation center, and we develop courses that sort of complements what is going on in entrepreneurship in that center, right? So we have courses on entrepreneurship, and then more industry specific electives, right, on fintech, healthcare, and so on. So one of the things that is unique to what we bring is these cutting edge electives which means that although we don't really offer specialization as part of the program, the large number of electives that we offer allows you to choose the focus based on the set of courses that you choose in the second year as your electives, right? The third part, which we are conceptualizing within the design of this specific online MBA program by taking advantage of the fact that this is a program offered to the working executives, right? Which is there is a live project component, which of course is optional because not everyone may want to take that, which allows you to pick a problem that you are dealing with at your work, a management problem that you are dealing with at work, and convert it into a live project in with the sort of advice from one of the faculty members here, and actually sort of think through how to sort of use your learning and the services at IMA, right, to think about that problem, right? And you can actually have credits for completing a project that is a real life project that's actually relevant for your organization and for your own work within your organization, right? So that is something we have consciously incorporated in the design of this particular program, right? Um, so that's sort of broadly about what is unique to how the way we have conceptualized this online MBA program, exploiting the advantage of the fact that it is offered to working executives, right? Coming to sort of finer details about the program calendar and schedule, as I have already said, this is a blend, what we call a blended mode. So which means that there will be part of the program which is offered on campus. You have to come to the campus 5 times over the 2-year period, right? And approximately a week each time that you come here, where we look at courses that are best taught in sort of in physical mode, right? So we structure this scheduling around the fact that there are certain kinds of courses that are best taught in a physical mode. And that is the kind of stuff that we will do when you come to the campus, the 5 times during the course of your 2 years. And one thing that I would like to highlight here is that, there may be a lot of online MBA programs coming up both in India and globally. And one thing that differentiates what we are planning to do as part of this online MBA program is that our online part of the program, which is about 80% of it, would be entirely synchronous. What you mean by that is that it's not like the professor records a session and then you will just go and watch that lesson, right? Rather, every single online session that we deliver will be a live session, which means that it's interactive between the instructor and the participants. Right? That's sort of one thing that, so to bring the program as close to a regular program, we wanted to make sure that there is no asynchronous component, at least in this program design, right? And another detail here is that it will be device to device mode, right? You can attend the sessions from wherever you are, subject to certain basic requirements you have to meet in terms of the bandwidth and the kind of device you use to attend the program, right? The This is the program calendar. Just to we have sort of already fixed when you will come to campus, when the sessions will happen from wherever you are. The program starts in September. There will be, as I said, 5 campus modules. The dates are already specified here. And the rest of it would be online. And the online sessions will be offered in this manner, right? The classes happen between Thursday and Sunday of every week. The classes on Thursday to Saturday will be in the evenings from 6:45 to 9:30 p.m. And on Sunday, we will have a session from 10:20 to 11:35. There will be occasionally sessions from 11:55 to 1:10, which could be either regular course sessions or sometimes it could be interactions with industry from practitioners, right? It could be industry and others to kind of give you a sense of the contemporary happenings in other fields that are outside of your work domain, right? That is broadly the sort of scheduling of the program, right? And who should apply for this program, right? So when we conceptualized the program, we have some sense of what kind of participants that we are looking for in this program, and as I already said at the beginning, we are in the business of producing leaders for organizations. So this program is no different in terms of that objective, right? So who we are looking for is people with exemplary careers, because this is for working executives, and well-rounded accomplishments, not just in academic, but a set of other extracurricular and co-curricular achievements. And we have a very rigorous, as I said, it's a very rigorous program, which means that you really have to have the sort of perseverance to deal with the demanding learning environment, right? So you should be mentally prepared for dealing with the demanding learning environment, and sort of uniqueness of your profile in terms of what is unique that you can bring to the table in the because most of the learning happens in the process of the interaction with your peers and with the instructors. What the kind of perspectives that you bring to the table? We make an assessment of the uniqueness that you bring in the classroom discussions, in other sort of informal discussions that you have with peers and instructors. And that, we believe, prepares you to become leaders in the future, to lead our large organizations, right, in India and abroad. That's a broad sense of who we are looking for. And to be consistent with that sort of broad vision of who we want to take as part of this program, we have set up the sort of admission process to be consistent with that. So the basic stuff is that you need a bachelor's degree with at least 50% marks in aggregate from a recognized university. Minimum age is 24 years. And we have a minimum experience requirement, which is 3 years of minimum experience as on 30th June 2024, right? These are like basic criteria. And the admission process involves, broadly, we take 3 inputs into the admission process. First is your professional experience and other achievements that I have already said that will go into selecting you for the shortlisting you for the interview along with the admission test scores. Here we have 4 options: GMAT, GRE, CAT, and an admission test that we ourselves are going to conduct on 19th and 26th of May, right? And we will use this admissions test score and your professional experience and achievements to shortlist you for an interview. And then those who are shortlisted for interview will have an online personal interview, right? We'll be attending it from wherever you are. And that will be one important component of final selection from the interview stage, right? How we will perform in the personal interview. That is sort of broadly the admission process. And we often receive questions about the IMA admission test, while we can't really tell you whether you will do well or not do well in this. What we can tell you is what is the format, right? It is somewhat similar to any typical aptitude test that you encounter when you want to do an MBA. It has a quantitative aptitude, analytical reasoning, and verbal attitude. And you will have 90 minutes to answer 45 questions. And we have, for your benefit, for you to judge how it compares with GRE, GMAT, we have set up a sample paper on our website. So I encourage all of you to go and look at the sample paper, and you can reach out to us if you are unable to locate it on our website, right? It will give a sense of what kind of questions you could expect and how they compare in terms of the toughness or easiness relative to the other typical exams one would take to get into an MBA program, right? So please have a look at that. So that's sort of broadly hopefully gave you a sense of, the rationale for this program, what we are offering in terms of the value to you, and, what to expect if you get selected in this program. And now I hand it over to Professor Joshy, who is the chair of this Online MBA program. And what he is going to do is that, as you know, when you registered for the webinar, we have asked you to raise certain queries that you want us to answer in this session. So we have consolidated that and came up with a few questions that we would like to directly address, right? So Professor Joshi will sort of talk about those specific questions.
Thank you, Mohan, and good evening, all the attendees. As Mohan said, we are actually just trying to respond to some common queries. The choice is based on how many people have raised it rather than how important that they are as we perceive. No, it's common questions. One can imagine any program probably has an overarching concern about what is a career acceleration it can give, not just in terms of content or learning, but in terms of what is the outcome that one has in terms of improving material outcome. So what is the kind of career support that is available to you is one key question. So here is our response. First of all, any career related outcomes, partly it is a very strongly driven by students. So we can say that whether PGPX or PGP program that at IIMA, the placements are strongly driven by the students. So in that sense, if you were to really ask us, do this program provide opportunity for someone to really pursue their career goals collectively as a batch or individually as a candidate? Yes, you can put up your profile on our website. You can advertise your CV. You can reach out to employers. The only difference in that sense is, unlike those programs where the participants have left their job and come here and now they want to really look for a new job, we engage ourselves in providing support to their activity, right? There is a placement chair appointed by the institute who will partly spearhead that initiative, but most of it is done by the students. So here we are not providing it. The reason for not providing that is straightforward. All of you are working and continue to work. And, in a lot of cases, there are candidates who are sponsored by the employer. We want to leave that faith with your employers that when they are actually sharing their resources, be it your time, be it financial support made available to you, it is not necessarily going to lead to a shift in career for sure. Rather, one is actually looking at career acceleration. Of course, organically, one may leave the organization which you're presently serving in the long run, which is the reason why we are not providing placement in the conventional sense. But is career opportunity available? The answer is yes. That is a call by the batch, right? So that is our response to the whole query raised on placements related activities. The second common question that we have received is actually about what is the financial support the institute would provide for meritorious or deserving candidates? As you may be aware that PGPX and PGP, the comparable to other MBA programs which we have, both are long duration programs. The participants come without giving up their job or earning opportunities. Therefore, we extend scholarships to them. Significant amount of scholarships are provided to the PGP candidates, that being a program for freshers. We provide that. Limited scholarships are made available to PGPX candidates. The difference being, that PGPX candidates, we presume that have worked for many years and therefore have a certain sense of saving and financial security. PGP students don't really have that because they might have worked for 2 or 3 years only, right? So in that sense, that's a differentiation. So therefore, we thought this is a program in which people who are already earning are attending the program. We have received a significant amount of interest from people who are in some form or the other sponsored by their employers. So therefore, we are of the view that this program would not require a strong material support to the participants in pursuing their academic interest. However, the management is deliberating some limited fee waiver at this point in time, but nothing is decided as yet. There is a certain possibility that something of that kind would be done in future once you are admitted. The third query is actually related to campus modules. The very reason why we are strongly building the program around campus modules is that we have a strong reason to think that certain inputs are best learned when they are actually taught in the physical mode, and the campus module also provide you to connect with the IMA ecosystem, which is very important value addition to the program participants. So therefore, we think it's important for every participant to really go through the campus module. Therefore, flexibility for the for not attending the campus module or attending all the modules at one shot, if there is an option like that, none of that is actually available as a standard course. But however, there are exigencies that can develop on personal front. At times, could be really like career front exigencies of exceptional nature, which you didn't really have any control over. So in those cases, we would actually provide limited exceptions on a case-to-case basis. And in those situations, you would have access to the recordings up to a certain point in time. But what exactly is the nature of that, we will disclose to you when you are actually in the program. A related query that we have received is actually about the timing. In fact, this had been raised in the first webinar, why don't we really start the classes on the weekdays later rather than 6:45 and then finish later, so that the work is reasonably done in a relaxed manner, and then you get home and then start to do this. But we understand that the preferences vary from across sectors. Therefore, when we are actually looking at what is ideal for us across the different sectors, it looks like given the fact that there's a family time, there's a dinner time, post 9:30, if we keep the classes, then it might actually lead into very late night dinner, and then upsetting everyone else in the family. So therefore, the 6:45 to 9:30 is a zone which we thought is like do not really disturb your family fabric significantly. Also, do not demand so much of compromise on your work, and therefore can be conveniently done. So these were the three queries which we commonly got across the window. We are very happy to take up other queries, and therefore now we are we are actually going to discuss your questions or concerns in an interactive manner. One of us will address that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. We will go into the Q&A session. Request all participants to type their questions in chat. You have already done. At the same time, if someone wants to ask a question live, please use the hand raise option and we will let you in and you can ask your questions directly to the faculty. Let me start off with a question from Umesh. Faculty, the candidate wants to know, he has been in business since 1997, did his graduation in 2005, and he wants to pursue higher education. He is contemplating on an online MBA or a business and entrepreneurship program. What's your suggestion?
Yeah, so it largely depends on what you're targeting. If you're actually very keen to build your entrepreneurship, or if you're already on a course of one, or if you want to aspire to be an entrepreneur, then I think entrepreneurial approach would be entrepreneurship focused courses can really do the more efficient job, because you are focused on necessarily how to manage a relatively young firm with an untested idea, how to really go past the death valley and then build back resources to scale it up, and then finally exit that into a relatively large firm. But the canvas, if you are actually doing an MBA, is actually much bigger. You are actually going to deal with inputs that are required to run large firms. Therefore, you're talking about work teams which are relatively large. How do you manage leadership and HR issues? How do you manage technology and infrastructure? How do you deal with public markets? So the repertoire of courses that you would actually end up doing in an MBA is far more wider in scope. So therefore, depending on what is the kind of objective that you have in mind, you could really decide on what you want to choose. It's very hard for us to say that, oh, this is what you ought to choose. Yeah, not
and
really.
just to add on to what Professor Joshi said, I think the duration also matters. How much you can spend if you go for family business and entrepreneurship program, it'll be more specialized. Possibly could do that in years time. Okay, whereas online MBA, you are looking at much larger scope. So you're going to spend 2 years doing the program. Okay, so these are, again, it's a function of the goals. So what are your end goals? Then you decide which of the programs are going to be suitable for you.
Yeah. I'll just take one question straight away that popped up there. It's about what is the role of VCNow in this whole program. So the program is fully run by IIMA. The admission criteria, the admission of the students, their day-to-day academic progress, the administration of the courses, everything is actually done by IIMA. VCNow is actually a technology partner who will help us handle the online live sessions related technical issues. Otherwise, the program is, increasingly the program is actually being, owned by IIMA, which is the reason for that is this is a degree program. So we want to make sure that the participants actually learn in a similar way that our other program participants are, using the same pedagogy and same rigor, as outlined in the presentation.
There's a question from Vineet. I am working since July 2021, but I had been a full-time research assistant at CMU. Will that be considered as a work experience?
Yeah, we saw this question when so what we consider as experience is I don't know what you mean by full time. So typically in the US, if you are referring to Carnegie Mellon, 40 hours a week is considered as a full time job, right? To full-time research assistantship. So if you have worked 40 hours a week as part of that job, that will be counted as work experience.
Okay. Can I request Jamin Joshi to come in and ask his question? Jamin, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah. Hello,
Sorry,
sir.
Jamin. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are. Please go ahead.
Sir, actually, my question is related to the classes timings. Actually, as per the presentation deck, it was around evening classes on Thursday and Friday. But actually, the working professionals get free by almost 7 o'clock because they have to come to home and all. And also, I'm working as per the UK shift timings. So working means if the classes are totally arranged on the Saturdays and Sundays, which normally other B schools located in the NCR region that do that, if we follow that practice, then it will be really beneficial to the majority of the crowd.
Yeah, because we spoke to a set of people from different sectors, and the broad sense is that, of course, sector to sector, the kind of office time requirement varies, but so therefore it's a trade-off between, as I said, family fabric and professional time. What is actually the most the most productive time that can be taken away without really compromising on other things? That's how we ended up with the SON. One concern that we have, Umesh, in really moving everything to weekend, then for some reason is an exigency for the candidate or for the instructor, I mean, for the candidate, I would say, not the instructor, then,
Okay.
it becomes quite a bit of difficulty to really catch up.
Because we are talking about 7 sessions, which means that the entire weekend will be consumed with the sessions, right? You will be working 5 days a week, and then you will be spending the whole weekend just doing this. And as Professor Joshi said, everyone is these participants have all families, so it becomes sort of you will just lose. For example, if you can't just come on a Saturday, you will lose all 4 sessions, right? And within our program design, we require ideally 100% attendance. Right? That is the typical requirement in all our programs. This program is no different in terms of that requirement. So it has been sort of done based on a lot of thinking about.
Yeah. And Umesh, and to generally, I thought will benefit everyone on this conversation, is that, see, IMA took a lot of time to really launch a degree program in this format. A lot of other institutions did earlier, but we were doing blended mode programs, short run executive education programs, diploma programs, and so on. But we were actually unsure up until a time that, whether we can really maintain the rigor and the learning effectiveness that we maintain for other programs in a mode like this. So therefore, in a way, what we are actually trying to do is, okay, only the mode of instruction varies, where, the participants are not in front of the instructor, but in front of them virtually. That's the only difference that we actually envisage. So therefore, if we were to really think of this as a full weekend program, then we know that everything gets clustered. Then the participants may not really have enough time to focus on learning. So in that sense, it's a relatively well thought out plan that we have made. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I have similar views. I think we did think about this. I think we made a conscious choice that we didn't want to block all your Saturdays and Sundays for the entire 2-year period. I think we decided at least participants also need a break. So we design in such a way that you get adequate time both for preparation as well as for your other activities.
Correct, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Because normal.
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
I think we work starting from 3 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. So anyways, I'll see means how to get some time out of that. So we have to check with the management also. Yes.
Sure. Yours is a atypical work time.
Normally in the IT sector, we'll find those timings.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And sir, I have one more question. Like IAT will be the paper-based examination, or it will be a computer-based examination at the centers?
It will be computer-based, right? VCNow can confirm for helping us.
Yeah, computer-based examination at centers.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, and this is the first batch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your guidance.
Yeah, thanks,
Again,
Jamie.
one question,
there's a question from
one moment, sir. There is a general question that comes up. It's again related to program specifics, which is why we wanted to respond to it. Is the program extendable to 3 years? While there is a provision we would not encourage it. Let's say the first year, we actually expect everyone to complete the first year in the same pace as the batch.
Else, yeah.
Only in the second year you would actually get a leeway, but that is only approved on a very case to case basis. So it's not that the program is routinely extendable to 3 years, and therefore you can self-pace it in that format. That's not right. Yeah, please.
Yeah, there's a question from Priyanka Joshi. She wanted to know, in analytical, does it count data interpretation and logical reasoning both? Yeah, or both.
Both will be
Yeah.
covered. Yeah, both will be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but can I request
again,
Bhavani
I would
Prasad,
encourage- I would encourage you to look at the sample question papers to get a sense of
Yeah.
Right.
what it would look like.
may I request Bhavani Prasad to come in and ask his question?
Sure, sir. Good evening, professors, and thank you so much for this time. Sir, I have a quick comment and 2 questions. My comment
Sure.
is, first of all, my heartfelt gratitude to IIM management for bringing this wonderful program for working professionals like me, who wants to make a difference, not only to my, honing my skills, but also difference to the employees that I serve. So I have 2 questions. The first one is, since I work in a multinational company, and like most of our colleagues must be, we work in a multicultural environment, right? So cross-cultures, cross-country cultures. So do we have any modules, be it in the electives or as a part of the mainstream, in which we learn about the strategic ways or the tactical ways of dealing with the leadership when they come from multicultural environment? So that's my question number 1, sir. If you want, I can state my second question as well.
Yeah, you can go on to the second question.
Oh, sure, sir. So my second question is about the LIFE project. The LIFE project, where we get an opportunity to work with a faculty member in our organization to solve any particular, let's say, a challenge or an issue. Sir, do we also have a latitude to work on that project in some other industry or the company, rather than the company that I'm working for, just to get a broader, more exposure?
Right.
That's it, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let me get on to the first question. And my colleague will get back to you on the second question. So on the first question, actually, in the first year core itself, we have a variety of courses which are actually dealing with the challenges of managing individuals and teams themselves. And there are certain elements of that which deals with the cross-cultural issues that comes up in communication and leadership, in setting goals and challenging and so on. But more importantly, there are a lot of electives in the second year which are actually focused on these issues. Unfortunately, at this dais, none of us actually belong to those disciplines. So therefore, I can't really delve into the subject matter of it. But there is ample opportunity for that. And mind it, at our approach to learning, we focus on making a protagonist in a case, and the protagonist has to probably decide, stitching up the cross-cultural team in a certain context. What does he do, and so on. That's the way the classes are being done, so that there is actual, focal point on decision making. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, sir.
On the live project, as I said in my presentation, we are thinking of it as an optional, right? In the sense that not every participant has to do it. It is, we have conceptualized it keeping in mind the fact that there might be some people who are at the time of doing this program are into some program. So I should also clarify that the live project has to be, because you will get credit for it. Right, it has to be thought out in a way that it can be completed in a timely manner within the sort of term or whatever during which you are picking it up, right? So it cannot be like a project that you can do forever, right? There has to be some it has to be thought out so that it's like a contained in a particular way. The clear boundaries are drawn so that you can complete it in a timely manner. That is a clarification on the live project, but not live project is not compulsory. right? You have to, if you want to choose a problem from a different company that you are not working in, that's absolutely fine.
Great, great. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Professor Turaga, Priyanka has got a follow-up question. She wanted to know, is there any negative marketing in marking in IIT?
No, there is no negative marking. Definitely not this year.
Okay. So can I request Prasad Mata? Prasad, can you come in and ask your question?
Am I audible, Sureshi?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for having this session, sir. To just introduce, I'm currently doing the digital marketing course, which is being offered by IIM Ahmedabad. A course is running too good, and by falling in love with the case methodology that IIM Ahmedabad teach, I opted for this course. Now, one clarification that we want is, I mean, we will be receiving all the sessions, 7 sessions in a week. Do we get the recordings of this session at least for this for some time, so that we can prepare the notes or something like that? Because this is what we face the issue in digital marketing also. So when the course was initially marketed to us, they promised that there will be recordings, and even in VCNow case also, I have asked for this whether recordings are available or not, because I mean practically it is not easy for us to digest everything what is being taught in IIM Ahmedabad sessions. So we would need to revive it at least the part 1. And second thing is, the second question is, sir, I wanted to know what would be the assessment part. So how is the assessments or the assignments that is going to conclude the session's completion for every participant? These are the 2 questions, sir. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. So let me take up the first question, and then my colleague will respond to you on the assessment part. See, it's a chicken and egg problem, right? So let's imagine today we conduct an experiment in which we just announce to participants that, you know, all recordings will be available ad infinitum. Then, you know, the extent to which one will really buck up for the sessions and the kind of uptake that you will have is relatively low, or is something that I'm sure that you would also admit. Because what happens is, you know, you are not really one like, oh yeah, I've actually quit my job, I'm on campus at home and in the dorm, you know, with my colleagues who are actually here, you know, committed to the same program, same time. So therefore, it's like a part of the reason why we are saying, you know, as a policy, recordings will not be available all throughout, but rather available only on a case-to-case basis, is on account of this choice. Because, you know, a lot of learning we say is when, you know, the matter goes through very strongly through our mind and we actually introspect and, you know, think about it. So therefore, this is as a policy, we would not say that, you know, recordings would be available as a default. But let's say we feel that there is a real genuine cost that one faced, and therefore you could not really meet, you know, the requirements of the session, and there is a genuine difficulty. The faculty will help you in the following ways. Number 1, as I said, you know, case-to-case basis, we will make the recordings available. Second is, you ask any of our faculty, okay, please give me some time. I didn't really understand what this concept was. Why was the decision taken as alternative 1 versus 2? Please get back to them. They'll be happy to really take you through a, you know, short session whenever it is mutually convenient for both of you to do that. So we would like to engage with participants and help them learn, rather than, you know, sort of say that, oh, recordings are available and therefore, you know, you can really get to an asynchronous mode in which the program, you know, you actually watch the video as and when it is sort of most convenient to you. I'm sure that all of us have these pressures. So we don't want to get into that. However, for genuine causes, you will actually have enough help. You can take it as an assurance given by all of us. Take it in that way. Yeah.
So let me also add one more dimension to this. It is also not possible to record some of the sessions. Even if you record, you may not really get the complete picture of what was discussed in the class. As you know, like we are following a case-based methodology where a lot of participant interactions happen over breakout rooms, and then we consolidate the ideas and discuss in the main rooms. Okay, so if you just record and listen to those, I don't think you'll get the complete perspective. But there are courses where recording could be done. Let's say if it's a purely theoretical course, some courses might be theoretical, then in those cases, possibly recording might help you learn whatever you missed in that particular session. So it is context specific. I think that one should keep in mind. And also majority of courses that you deal here is going to be case-based. I think the person who asked also said you're already doing a digital marketing program here. You know how the case-based discussion happens. And I'm sure you can appreciate the challenges you might face if you just record and give you those videos. Okay. And coming to the second question related to assessment. Okay, so every course there are going to be multiple assessment criteria. Okay, so typically we have a credit system, as you know, like you'll have to take about 36 credits over 2-year period. Okay, so if you take one credit course, there will typically be like 2 to 3 evaluation components. So it might be, you might be given a quiz or exam, or you might be given assignments. And again, it depends on the instructor. Instructor designs a course and gets it approved through appropriate channel and will be shared with you. And you'll get at the beginning of the course, you'll know how you're going to be evaluated throughout the course. And again, it's not going to be just one exam at the end. So you'll be evaluated throughout the course, and you'll be given feedback in terms of how you are performing in each of the courses. Okay, that's how the evaluation process works.
And just one more point to add, unlike some other B schools or some other courses that you might have done, where the exams are actually just about, okay, do you remember this formula? How do we derive this? We tend to really reflect the same application focus even in the exams. So you will well have a case as an exam. So in which context you will have to decide for your firm or for that firm what to do. These are the 4 steps that I'm doing. And not only that, you'll have to identify those steps. You'll have to also support with data as to why are you doing what you're doing, right? So in that sense, exams are not really a test of, memorizing something. It is more about, the ability to apply. So therefore, the learning is actually being assessed at I would say, admittedly, a much higher level, right? Being able to remember, cite some examples for a certain concept is just one level of learning. But, given the way you are seasoned in your career and the fact that, you have a lot of life experience, we are sure that you can really reach to that level. So therefore, many of the exams will be open book, but that doesn't really mean that, you can just sort of open the book for the first time there. Not really.
And they are typically the toughest exams, the open book exams. Just to add to what they said, the assessments are also typically both individual and group level. I mean, usually every course has at least one group component in terms of evaluation where you have to work as a team to solve something, right? Like do a project or something that, so in order to like integrate this sort of a collaborative culture and team culture within the learning process, pretty much every single course would have at least some component of a team level, group level assessment.
Yeah. We have Professor Sumit wants to know what exactly is the pre-MBA module starting on 1st August. Is it compulsory for all the candidates?
Of course, the pre-MBA module is supposed to harmonize all participants to, get them up to speed when the actual program begins. In that sense, we thought that there are 2 areas in which there could be a lot of heterogeneity among the group. One is in terms of your preparedness to quantitative methods. There we thought rather than math, what might be actually, what might be different could be statistics. So therefore, we want to really give you a, short exposure to basic statistics. That's one module which we have. The second module is accounting. I'm sure that all of us deal with balance sheets, P&L statement, and cash flows. But to just sort of build the basic concepts there, we also have this module. So these are the 2 modules. Of course, we would expect all of you to have gone through the 2 modules and do the self-learning test there. Of course, we are not going to grade it, but you get an instant feedback on whether you're thorough with those concepts or not. So
that actually it is mandatory.
Right. In that sense, it's mandatory, but it's not an assist component. Yeah, right. But it will help you significantly when the program begins, because there will be, as the program begins, you will be dealing with on triple fronts: your career, your family life, and then your program commitment. So therefore, it will actually ease out your time. at that point. So in that sense, it's impliedly mandatory.
Yeah, it won't be part of the credit requirements of the program, nor would it be assessed, as you said, but we might require you to show evidence that you have completed. To that extent, it is mandatory. Correct.
Yeah, may I request Abhijit Hirave? Abhijit, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, good evening to all the professors. So again, I would also like to extend my gratitude to the IIM Ahmedabad management and even the professors who are currently are available to answer our questions. I was actually a part of the first session that was done, I think, a month back. So basically,
Yes.
I'll give you a quick background. I've been evaluating a couple of programs for this online management. And I think I got admits from IIM Indore because they had one, and then I got an admit from SDA Bokuni. But I've actually, uh, I've, I think the most important thing that when I was evaluating was the pedagogy, and I think in the last lecture, I think it was kind of clarified that the IIMA's pedagogy is more on applied learning, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I have actually given up on the other two admits that I got, but I think again I come from an international sales background, and hence I have to be working uh, specifically US standard times because majority of my timings are in that zone. So that there comes an overlap again. I think I know this topic has been discussed, but if there is any other way out to that, that would be of great help. Specifically on the weekend part, I mean, I have actually completed and pursued courses from Wharton and certain courses from IIM Mumbai also, which is now IIM Mumbai. It was NITI. So typically, in IIM NITI, it was called NITI before. So they had a course, and
Yes.
they kind of had this weekday and a weekend batch. So I think after 2 weeks of the course starting, they kind of had like a lot of changes because their batch was not responding well, and then they had to shift. So I would be very much interested if something like that happens. And I'll just complete my second question. So I think right now we are in the digital age. So most of these MBAs that I kind of, like I said, and I've been looking at executive level because I've been working for more than 10 years and I've had international exposures as well. So I think most of these MBAs, I think on the terminologies or nomenclature, what the wordings can be anything, but I want to really know because it's not changed drastically, but things in real life, like in the real industry world, last 2 years have been like completely transformative. I mean, a lot of the things are more towards AIML driven. So be it like when it comes to marketing, it's more on the digital marketing. I mean, people are actually replacing marketing to digital marketing. It's the extent. So offline or the previously held marketing stuff is really not, in use. Similarly, in any other modules, be it entrepreneurship. So I think the context or the underlying, I would say, the base has to be AI and more digital driven versus how it was. So I think I just want you guys to shed some light on how that has changed from the course structure or curriculum that has been taught since couple of, or since IMA. I'm sure that there have been changes. Yeah, I think that's
So
all.
let me just quickly respond to the first part, and then the substantive question that you have about how pedagogy and content and context is evolving with what's in the industry. So one of my colleagues will respond to you. So on the first part, see, while we may be exploring such options in future that you can really have your credits completed, let's say by using only weekends. You can complete your credits using partly full time, let's say a course itself. These options are certainly something that we will gear towards in future. But right now, there is a lot of inability we have in terms of offering offering flexibility by way of exemptions from attending the classes and so on, because this is predominantly meant for people who are actually working in the Indian time zone. That's how we have actually sort of curated it. But in future, something like that might evolve. But there is nothing which is firmed up as yet. Yeah.
So if I understand this question correctly, I think I was talking about the change which was made by
Right.
NITI during the program itself. Okay, so
In the structure,
that's
the
right.
fact that increasingly the practice is moving
Right.
towards digital.
Right.
How are we incorporating this in the course?
Yeah, I think if you look at our overall program structure itself, I think Professor Turaga talked about it. I think the first year is you have to do set of compulsory courses across various disciplines. Okay, and the second year is where a lot of flexibility is provided. So there are a bunch of electives which are offered across different areas, and these electives changes based on the business context. I think today, if you see even PGP, PGPX, and various other programs we offer bunch of relevant and new age electives, be it big data analytics or AI ML related courses, and even design thinking. I think you will find plenty of electives which are aligned with the current market needs. Yeah, digital marketing. I think you'll find if you have to give you some numbers, I think in PGP about 250 to 300 electives are offered. You can imagine many of these courses get dropped also because the number of takers are very limited. Number of electives are far more than number of students who can take those electives.
We were one of the early campuses to offer a course on fintech, Bitcoin and blockchain.
Yes.
But we were also the first to drop it because, the moment blockchain, became unpopular. So the point is that there is a lot of contemporary response to those issues.
And also one more dimension you should also look at, we also provide the project courses as well as live projects. Okay, so where if you find there are some gaps still that exist, you can work with a faculty who might have expertise in that area, and you can explore a project course, or you can do a live project. So that way you have ample flexibility to do whatever you like. I'm sure you have expertise in-house, and you'll be able to enrich your skills and capabilities on specific areas.
I just wanted to add one point here. See, there is actually a trade-off always between concept and context. If you really look at the first year courses, most of them are actually trying to build the conceptual background. Like, for example, in your field, if it's marketing, then what are the fundamentals of marketing? Of course, I don't belong to that field, therefore I can't elaborate beyond a point. But if I were to talk about our own field, we can say that, all the concepts that the financial economic concepts that drive financial markets is what we focus on in the core. But when it comes to the electives, it becomes more contextual. The investment approach of a hedge fund is different from that of a PE, which is different from a VC, which is different from how the way actually a crossover investor is investing. So what we are saying is context actually gets dominance in a lot of courses in the second year. As opposed to that, the first year is actually more concept based. And entrepreneurship and so on, we have quite a few courses which are quite up to date, in which practitioners are dovetailed with faculty to bring what is going on in the market to the classroom. Yeah,
I will just I think answer it slightly differently in the sense. Yeah, now I will answer it slightly differently because the broader question is how schools like us actually keep changing our courses and program structures, keeping in view what is happening in the practitioner world, right? So that is a broader question. It may be in this case AIML, in some other cases it's something else. But in a place like ours, all our faculty are very actively engaged in research, consulting with and we teach executive education programs a lot. So we actually have a very strong interface with practice, which often in the form of, for example, we write case studies. So we are offering an executive education program. We run into someone who is doing something very contemporary, and then we sort of take the opportunity to write a case to bring that into the classrooms of the regular MBA programs, right? That is the one path through which some of those things that are happening in the real world actually percolate into our program structures through the electives, right? As as Professor Joshi said, it takes longer for the basic concepts to change, but the context is going to change more quickly. And this is one mechanism through which, and I think, given the research activity in the system at IIMA, that becomes much easier here than many other places that you can imagine, at least in India.
I think I just have to kind of have a backup question. So I think number one, what I understand is basically to a good extent, it's kind of covered, specifically in the second year when you're more electives and more focus driven. So I think the background of my question was because I have already done an MBA, and then the purview of what I want to kind of get onto the new age learnings and new age expertise in since I'm an entrepreneur, so I think I have to have hands-on on every aspect, be it marketing, HR. So I think rather than doing like these courses like digital transformation, be it digital marketing, this like one courses, I was looking for an option where I'm kind of having a like the purview of the course has to be like much larger, so that it covers all the digital and the new age context. I mean, that's what the context meant. And number two, I think while I'm working, I've already started a startup. Okay, so I think my objective while I'm kind of going for this course, I think there are a lot of new age companies, and they're not institutions, where they're learning companies where they're asking you to start a startup, and while in the program that you are doing, you kind of learn different things and you apply it on the startup. So that way you are actually working on the company and you're understanding what is being taught and you're applying it. So like there are a
Sure.
lot of companies like Mesa.
Very short response to this would be there are a number of workshop courses which you have, in which one can even try out, on entrepreneurial ideas. You can really hook up with CI and, get, almost a simulated environment for trying out new ideas. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Abhijit. Sai Mohan. Sai Mohan, can you unmute and ask your question, please? Yeah, go ahead, Sai Mohan.
Hello, this is Sai Mohan. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I come from an IT background, and I have come across this EPGD ABA course. Can you compare this with the online MBA? Because I have certain constraints. I cannot attend a residential course in Ahmedabad. So compared to EPGD ABA, is this online MBA has a more online component? Is it true? And the other thing is it a diploma, EPGD ABA, compared to this being a degree course? I had just thinking aloud whether this course would be more suitable for me. So that's the reason I'm asking this question, because I come from an IT background.
No, these two are completely different programs. Okay, ABA is analytics focused program. Okay, so there you are trying to offer courses related to analytics with some focus on different functional domains. It's a 16 months course. It offers you a diploma at the end of the program. Whereas here it's a general management program. It's an online MBA program. So it's a 2-year program which you'll be doing here. And at the end of the program, you'll get a MBA degree. So depends on your goal, what you want to do. So if you want to be a analytics manager or a data scientist, so if you're aspiring for those kinds of roles, probably ABA would be a better program. So you might be managing a large analytics team. So you want to build certain capabilities around analytics. So that would be you'll have to choose ABA program. But if you're looking for leadership roles in large organizations where you want to have overall general management perspective, then you should choose online MBA program.
What about the online component and the residential component? How are these two different?
No, these are not comparable. No, that's a 16 months program. Actually, it's 12 months plus 4 months you're going to do project. Okay, so here you have a 2-year program. Okay, it's a 6-term which you're doing there. The structure, if you go through you can go through the module outline in the website.
We have
also.
20%
That's completely
online.
different.
20% offline.
You have 5 modules spread over 1 year. Okay, so but here you have a trimester system, just like any other MBA program. Okay, so it's in terms of structure, in terms of overall program objective and the target audience, these programs are completely different. Okay, so you can just have a quick overview of each of these programs online. You'll see there are no comparison between these two programs.
The offline component here is 20% in online MBA for comparison, if you were to do comparison.
Okay, another question was,
that.
can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Sai.
Yeah.
I'm from the IT background, and at this stage, I don't want to switch over to marketing or finance. What I look for is something like consulting. I've been hands-on all these years, and I worked as an individual contributor, and I worked as a project lead in some projects. Now, with this management background, can I look forward to a consulting role? Will this help me in consulting, where the backend is there, the technology aspect is there, plus also the consulting? Can this MBA help me in that direction?
Of course, from our own interactions with consultants and knowing them, how they're doing, what they're doing, it is important for consultants to really have a lot of general management skills, which we could sense. Therefore, from that very limited point of view, we would say that, oh, MBA is something which is actually comes handy to a consultant. That's where we would like to end. Thank you.
Just to, so that the consultants are the biggest recruiters of our MBA programs.
That's right. Yeah.
For example, McKinsey had advertised a data and technology strategy consultant recently. Something like that is what I had in mind when I asked that question.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, there are some questions in terms of what is the kind of time that outside the classroom hours that a prospective student have to dedicate in a week.
All right. So if you have to talk about the general norm and IMA, if you think of a 1 credit course, typically you'll have about 25 hours of classroom hours, okay? And 75 hours you're expected to put in for all other activities. So typically when you talk about 1 credit, it's basically 100 hours of overall effort, including assessment and preparation. So considered together, you'll be required to spend 100 hours, but 25 hours would be classroom hours.
3 times the contact hours.
Yes. And you have to just assume that you have 36 credits to complete over a 2-year period. Yeah.
And also, one candidate wants to know, can we do a PhD after doing this MBA?
This is a degree program. It awards you an MBA. So whichever institution or university that recognizes a degree from IIMs will find you eligible for applying for a PhD.
May I request Sumit? Sumit, can you unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to know the schedule which has been provided. That is, I believe, is for the first year, which is Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, and then morning Sunday. So for the second year, how the schedule look like for the electives? So any idea like will it be on the weekday or the electives gonna happen?
Right. So very quick response to this is we are going to firm it up, but it will have both Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as one option and Thursday, Friday, Saturday as another. Because depending on the cluster of electives that you choose, you will be actually bucketed into one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What will stand is on the weekdays, it will be from 6:45 to 9:30, and on weekends. So that sort of slots will be similar, but when you will actually end up taking classes will be depending on what electives.
Bunch of electives you choose.
Yeah. Okay.
And typically, you'll be provided with the schedule also. In fact, that's how it operates here. So when a faculty offers an elective, there'll be a schedule will be provided. So you'll be bidding for the courses based on your interest. So at the time of bidding, you'll have an opportunity to look at the schedule of different courses, and based on your preferences of courses as well as the schedule convenience also, you could pick the relevant set of electives. So you'll be knowing upfront what is the schedule before you bid for a particular elective.
Before going to Swati Jain, there's a question, Professor. Is there any additional cost involved for doing for extending it to the third year?
No, not a cost from our side, but you can imagine that your payments will get deferred to the third year as far as whatever credit that you're pushing. So we don't really have any additional charges. Yeah.
It will be same as the program.
Right. However, the approval for that will actually be on a case-to-case basis. It is not based on certain fee being paid. Yeah.
May I request Swati Jain to come in and ask a question? Swati?
Yes, good evening, everyone. My query is, I want to know if I'm joining this course and if for any genuine reason, I'm missing on some classes. So how am I guided to actually, kind of cover those subjects or cover those classes which I have missed?
There are 3 points that we want to add here. Number one, in general, we only approve on a case-to-case basis on a genuine emergency participants to get access to the recording. So that is your first via media. You will get access to recording for a genuine course up to a certain point in time so that you can go back and see for yourself and immerse for yourself what that class was. The second is you can really hook up for a meeting with the faculty on a convenient time if there is a genuine concern of that kind. That's the second thing that you could do. The third that you could really do is to go through the same case, attempt a solution, and then build with your program cohort in terms of what else was done beyond the solution and so on. So at least 2 institutional remedials are available, but as I said, it has to be in response to a very specific and genuine reason that for missing the class. Yeah.
So, sir, during this course, entire course, for every subject or during the 2-year span, are there holidays which are given in advance? The calendar is shared in advance so that the students can well plan in advance.
Yeah. We don't really want to deprive you of your family time or your personal life. So therefore, between terms, there is a break that we have actually scheduled. So you will get approximately 1 week to 10 days break between terms.
And last query is, during the electives in the second year, do I have a choice that I pick up on 2 electives at a time?
No, so there is a certain minimum number of electives that you have to choose to complete your 18 credits. So it is not just 2, it will be more than that.
Okay.
Because you'll have to finish 18 credits, right? Typical course will be around, let's say 1 credit, 1.25 credits. Yeah.
So you'll be doing 6 to 7 courses, probably in term 4 and 5, possibly term 6 will be leaner. You might do lesser number of credits in term 6.
Yeah. That is what we meant by demanding learning environment.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Swati. There is a question from Amit and Ayush. What will be the batch size? And the next question is, can you help us with some resources one can go through before this MBA program, especially for the ones who do not have a commerce background?
Yeah. So about
this
the
was
size
already
of the
answered.
batch, right? The size of the batch. IMA doesn't really believe in creating a large batch where it cannot find value or create value. So it's a question of being able to create value for both participants and for the institute. So therefore, that's the principle with which we operate. And you can observe that in IMA, none of the programs actually are at the same scale as the other competing institutions in India. We probably are running the smallest cohorts across different programs. So that will be the principle that we have. That's the way we would like to respond to that.
At least in the first year, it is not predefined what the size will be. Right? Yeah. As we learn and go along, we might end up knowing what approximately that would be. But at this stage, the focus is not on scale or size of the program, but getting the best set of people to create value for everyone.
Yeah. What was the second question, Suresh?
Commerce.
Commerce. So as I had mentioned earlier that there is a remedial preparatory module that we set up on 1st August. You will get a month's time to go through that. And then, as we said, rather than trying to get lost in the definitions and technicalities, programs and courses focus on applications. So in that sense, you would actually be on level playing ground if you were to really do the preparatory module. Of course, it goes without saying that one, probably has a disadvantage in dealing with some accounting courses, but you will have the advantage if you are not from that background. You will get the benefit somewhere else. So at the program level, for all participants, you are actually easier with some subjects, but you will be hard. You probably will face hardship in certain others. But I think it levels out at a program level. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I request Kedar Kanolkar to unmute and ask his question? Kedar.
Hello, sir. This is Aishwarya here. I actually have logged in from my husband's account.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. To give you a quick gist into my background, I am a BTech plus an MTech holder from a reputed Indian institute, and I have a 5 years of working experience in a big MNC. So the query is, around 8 months back, I gave a very kind of a lukewarm GRE attempt and landed up on a score of 300, a very average score of 300. So just wanted to know, can I still submit the scorecard of GRE of mine along with giving the IIT attempt? Or like, how is it? Both scores can be considered, or how does that work?
Yeah, you can submit your GRE score. Yeah. And then take the IIT. Yeah.
Okay, I can submit 2 scores at a time.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Aishwarya. May I request Saurabh Gulati? Saurabh, can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Hello, very good evening. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, very good evening to all of you. Thank you so much. Like, this was a very nice interaction with you. So, sir, actually, I have 2 questions actually. So, like, first one, my very first question is that I have an experience of 17 years plus in IT industry, and I worked as a chief quality officer. I was into completely into software testing domain in the quality assurance. But now, very soon, I'm going to start my own, in entrepreneurship journey very soon, just like waiting for the software upgradation. So will that like IIM Ahmedabad online course would be like how much like would be my eligibility for this course? Because as being like experience of 17 years plus, and, and apart from that, I'm going to start my entrepreneurship journey very soon, maybe in a couple of months. So can you please like just because I'm very curious about this, so that I can just have a better outlook over this. So now what can the like uh, kind of support will IIM Ahmedabad as in terms of the learning will support me out of this.
So I think there are 2 parts to your question. One is about your eligibility. I think we may not be able to individually answer the eligibility question, but at the face of it, looks like nothing makes you ineligible if you go through the process. Let the process determine, and we can't say anything beyond that. But to come to your more substantive question about how does entrepreneurship gets reinforced or gets magnified in terms of your ability to do a business in the program, there are 3 things. One, in the core as well as in the electives, we have a set of courses which are focused on building on business and growing it. That's number 1. Number 2, we have an entrepreneurship center, which is very actively engaged in building early stage, I would say basically seed and pre-seed stage funding. So you will actually get to see a lot of interactions and programs, and you may even want to sort of get your business idea incubated there. All that is there. The third thing is we intend to really engage you with our alumni who are actually in running their own businesses in various fora, and you can connect with the larger network. So these 3 will be the anchoring points that will help you build understanding of entrepreneurship and give you more confidence on how to run own business. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
like the second question is actually related to this. Like suppose I'm actually just serving a notice period because about to like start my journey in entrepreneurship. So I think like it will be better for me so that I can just inculcate my whole of the time into the business as for the job. So will that impact like when I like if I like cleared all the like process like if I get selected for an interview, will that impact like after like, like I'm serving a notice period, I am not doing a job and even the business has not been started till yet. I mean, even the exact operation. So will that impact
No,
on the
no,
like?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Saurabh. Gautam, can you unmute and ask your question, please? Gautam?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
So, thank you for the confirmation. So, my question was related to IAT, IIM admission test. Is there any qualifying marks needed to be qualified? Is there any criteria, or how we will know that I have to score this much or that much? Thank you.
Unfortunately, we also don't know because this is the first time the program is launched. This is the first time people are sort of taking this test. If you ask me after we run this program a couple of times, then I will know what was the previous year's cutoff and I will be able to provide that information. But right now, I can't really tell you what is the minimum that you have to score to get shortlisted or have a chance to get admitted. Yeah,
That's a genuine helplessness, nothing being made up.
And plus, it's a percentile
Right,
based
yeah.
ranking that
Right.
we come up with. I think.
Right. Yeah.
So there's no absolute score or cutoff.
That's right. Yeah.
and also I just want to add that the performance in the test is only, as we have indicated in the admission process, is only one component, right, through which you are assessed. And so it's not like it has like an oversized weightage in terms of the probability of getting you into this. So I wouldn't actually worry so much. Just focus on the sample papers given to you on IIT and do the best you can. And don't get too stressed about how well or you have to score on that.
I think earlier
that would
also
be my advice.
during the presentation, he talked about three components. One is your application, your overall profile. There'll be some rating for that. And then you have the IIT, and then how well you perform in the interviews. So all those three put together, we assess you and make a decision.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Gautam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gautam. May I request Sagnik Chakraborty to unmute and ask your question?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good evening, Professor. Sir, I
Yes.
Sagnik Chakraborty. Sir, I asked question that which MBA online MBA specialization or MBA specialization is best, which is related to the hospital management. Because sir, I graduated in BBA in hospital management and I have 2 years experience in hospital sector. So
there are two things that I want to highlight as far as the involvement of IMA with healthcare or health management systems are concerned. Number one, we run actually a center for healthcare management. Second, there are a number of faculty who actually focus on the health sector, including a qualified medical practitioner who's on the faculty role. They offer courses on healthcare management. And plus, you may be able to really do a independent course with a faculty on your focal point of interest in that field. These are the opportunities which you have. But the program as such is not focused on health. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lakshman Negi, can you unmute and ask your question?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Good evening. Yes.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. First off, I would like to thanks IMA for organizing this session. My question is regarding IAT. As earlier, the candidate also asked same question, but I have some different kind of question there.
Sure.
Like other students will be also submitting the scores from CAT or GRE. As earlier one lady also told that she has wrote GMAT, right? GMAT, I think. So, sir, how will you differentiate like who had written IAT and GMAT or CAT scores because we as experienced people are not in touch in quantitative and verbal abilities since long. Even I am from engineering background, so I have never been applied for this MBA exams. So that's why I'm not also well aware about this quantitative aptitude others as in real. So even though I'm from engineering background, I am well conversant with maths aptitudes. That's fine, but still everything need a practice and certain kinds of sample papers. So how should we take it?
No, so it's on the question of other tests. It's not like we will take GMAT for someone who has written when they were doing their BTech, right? So there is a validity that I think it has to be should have been taken in the last 3 years or so, right? So it's to that extent everyone is on a level playing field, because we are not going to consider a very old GMAT or a CAT or a GRE score today. So it has to be very recent, which means that you and someone else has sort of same experience, right? Since your graduation, you are both are evaluated at the same sort of, that way it creates certain level playing field, right? So I don't think that should be a concern, that you have someone who has been away from quantitative stuff would probably perform similarly in GMAT and IAT, right? So that's what I would say. And the specific question of how do we compare those, we have internal processes in other programs where we sort of allow multiple test scores to be used for admission process. So we will use those processes for evaluating across different kind of test scores that you submit. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Lakshman. May I request Ayushi Goyal? Ayushi, you can unmute and ask your question. I think she, okay. Abhishek Tanwar. Abhishek.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. Good evening, sir. Am I audible? Yes.
Yeah, you are audible.
Sir, so I have a question regarding the program time commitment that we need. So first thing is that when the course will start, we have 10 hours weekly for online classes. Apart from that, we need, as you already told, that we have one credit, we need 35 hours. So total have 100 hours, 25 plus 75. So I can understand that weekly commitment we need to give is like 35 hours for including these classes.
No, it's not weekly commitment. No, it's for a course. The course will run for the entire term. Let's say if you start term 1, okay, so you'll be doing about 6 or 7 courses. The course will run for the entire term, which means 3 months you're doing that course. Okay, within that 3 months, each course you're going to spend overall 100 hours. Okay, each of the courses you're going to spend 100 hours, 25 hours of which will be through class hours, and remaining you're going to spend on other activities.
3 times is basically a thumb rule, right? It's not that on an average, it is what it is. And that includes, for example, as we have said, there is a case pedagogy, and you have to, read the case in advance, come prepared for, participating in the class on about the case. So all of that, and then you have evaluation, right? As we said, there are quizzes, exams. All of these would take time outside of your contact time, right? And it will vary by among different courses, and there are some courses which are a little time intensive than others. So it's that way. The 3 times requirement is sort of a the thumb rule, but certainly you will have to kind of beyond, because you are working. It's I won't certainly say that it's going to be easy, right, for you to this is going to be as rigorous as any of the other programs we run in terms of the expectations. You should be prepared to devote significant time and outside of just attending the classes in order to do well in the program. Right?
And also some courses you might spend lesser time. Let's say if you're a CA, if you're doing some finance or accounting courses, possibly you might spend lesser hours on those courses. Whereas if you're looking at marketing, you're completely new, possibly you'll have to spend more time. So It's just a ballpark number, as
Right.
Professor Turaga was mentioning.
And sir, are we factoring in the time like we have like on a, like we have a class on Thursday, Friday, and we have a festival, maybe any Hindu festival or any Indian festival we are having. So are we having off? Are we factoring that time, or we are having classes on that day? Like for
Some
example, be it a
important
Diwali.
festivals we may keep out, but not all of them. As I had mentioned earlier, that 1 week break between the two terms, that's where we think that you can unwind. Yeah.
Okay, sir. And the last question is that I'm working in a pharma company, but my role is completely technical. So we have a sales team, we have a management team also, but currently my work is completely technical. So it's how can I transition? Like I know that program will help me, but how can I take the advantage of this course to convince my colleagues or my seniors that I can transition into maybe the sales of the, because I have the technical knowledge, but any input on that?
The program will provide you different pathways to think about the transition. Inputs in marketing, in finance, in HR, in general management, in strategy, and so on. That will give you different thoughts as to what are the possible ways of transitioning and really demonstrating your skills. If one were to really find a surefire way of doing that, sitting here for you today, right now, then that may be a little unrealistic, I think, but it provides you pathways for sure. Yeah.
We also hope that the IIM brand value would be enough for convincing your superiors to move you into a managerial role.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We don't have too much of time now. We'll be taking one more question. Can we request Abhijit Hirave to ask his question, unmute and ask his question? Abhijit? Yeah, Abhijit. Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry, I think I'm taking up more time than usual. I just had a quick question around, like, as you mentioned about the course structure.
Yeah, Abhijit. Abhijit, you have gone on mute again. Okay, I think there is some audio issue from Abhijit's side. Okay, one last question. Tarinder Singh. Tarinder Singh, can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Am I audible?
Yes. Clearly.
So I'll not stretch more. My quick question is that some people may not have that good profile. For example, the minimum criteria is 3 years. Okay, and they may have a good profile with the current employment, but not with the previous employment. So how the screening team or the IIM team looks into the evaluation of the shortlisting profiles?
I'm sorry. Good profile in the current job. That's what you're saying?
Right. So like, for example, if anyone has 6 or 7 years of experience, but the current employment is since last 2 years, and they have a very good profile in that company. But the previous organizations, they are not having that great profile as compared to the current employment. So how the screening team looks into the profile, the overall profile or the current employment, or how it is?
Overall.
Well, it's overall in the sense, see, the profile comes into picture at a couple of places in the process. One is at the time of deciding who will, we select for interview process. There we largely look at the overall experience rather than the specifics of it. But, and the interview is where the other place where, we all be looking for quality of experience and all that. So, I don't think, it all depends on what you demonstrate, in the interview. As we've already put out what we are looking for, right, in terms of who the participant that you would select. What you do as part of your current job is sort of something that we think is, fits with what we are looking for, then it's fine. So it's not like we will look at the entire profile and then decide. It's a combination of things.
Okay,
Yeah,
understood.
What
Thank
I
you.
can
Yeah,
certainly say is,
Tarinder.
what I can certainly say is that the minimum requirement, for example, 3 years, would be the overall experience. We will make any judgment about the nature of the profile to decide whether you have qualified for that 3-year requirement or not. Right.
All right, got it. Thank you very much. Thanks to the team.
Yeah, thanks, Tarinder. Thanks everybody for joining for today's webinar. And we are running short of time. We have already overshot the time by more than 30 minutes. What we will do is we will upload the webinar recording and share with you the link. You can go back. I think most of the questions almost all the questions have been answered in this webinar. We will share with you the link after uploading it in the YouTube, and you can have a look at it. If you still want to go back and revisit some of the questions that have been asked and the answer given by the faculty. At the same time, you can also write back to us. We'll get back to you with your answer, answering your question. You can write back to us. You have the email IDs. You also have the contact details of your counselors. You can call them and ask for any specific answers that you want. We will get back to you. Thanks everybody
all
for
specific
joining.
unanswered questions, Suresh, all specific unanswered questions, our team will get back to you.
Yeah, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
On the chat, there are some specific unanswered questions. We will get back to you on those questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody, and many more questions are also uploaded in the FAQ section in the website. You also can go and have a look at it. That almost covers. It has got an exhaustive list of questions in the FAQ section. Thanks everybody once again, and that we are closing. The time is nearing. By 10th, we are closing the application window. We request you not to rush it towards the end. Try and who is willing to complete the application process, kindly try and do it at the earliest. Thanks a lot. Professor, would you like to add something?
Thank you so much for raising the queries and actively picking our brains on some issues which probably would need a little more clarity from our side. But as the first unique program that we are offering, I think we would be able to build on further clarity on some of the finer points in years to come.
We look forward to applications from many of you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.